Welcome back, folks. With me, Phil Tura. You're watching part 3 of the Ease playthrough. And so, it's a little bit of a change up. So, part 2 we left off in the dungeon, but we're going to pick up part 3 back in Mania. We're going to sell the ruby, and then we're going to upgrade our armor. So, because we haggled with good old Pim, our ruby's worth a little bit more. So, that's always a good thing. So, we're going to go. Oh, and that haggling bit. Once you haggle the price for the golden vase, everything that you sell will be at a higher price. So that's always nice. So go back to Dios's armory, and we're gonna go ahead and buy the second tier of armor, which is the plate mail and the metal, not the metal shield, the middle shield. So we have more than enough gold to buy that. So always good. So, and this will upgrade our defenses, of course, which makes Adol a bit more spongier in the damage department. And then after that, we're gonna go back to the dungeon, and then we are gonna get back to fighting our first boss, which could be very tricky depending on if you're not used to Ease bosses. I certainly wasn't, so I lost quite a bit to our first boss. And our first boss is gonna be Genesaris. That's our first boss, and even though we upgraded our armor, the fire in his boss fight ignores boss attacks. Or boss attacks, Jesus. It ignores Adol's defenses. So, whether or not you upgrade your armor, you're still going to take the same amount of damage, but it's after the boss fight you want to upgrade his armor. But anyways, let's talk about the boss fight. So, in boss fights in Ease, you want to keep moving. Moving is key. So, in Genesaris' case, you're going to take damage whether you like it or not when you attack him, because he's always going to spawn in the middle of some fire. If you're very lucky, he might spawn where there's no fire, but if you're at level 5 and you have the long sword, all it does is it takes 3 swipes to attack him, and then you don't have to be off center for the boss fights to do damage and avoid it. So just run into him, and then he'll take a third of his, a little bit less than half his HP. So you have to hit him 3 times, and once you beat him, the wall in the back will crumble. We can go deeper in. So don't be afraid to take damage. You're gonna have to take damage to defeat our first boss. So Shrine B1. Basement level 1, if you will. So this dungeon, it's very labyrinthian. It's very confusing the first time you do it, and it's going to be your first dungeon game, so you're going to have to get used to not being able to stand still and heal if you've been doing that a lot. But there's 2 things to make a note of on basement 1. These 2 block jail cells, specifically the one on the right, and then here on the bottom right of this level is a treasure chest that we cannot yet open. So make 2 mental notes of that, and we're going to come back to here, assuming that I don't get too lost and I don't get too kill frenzied with the enemies. So one thing you do want to do is before you fight our second boss, which is going to be a lot later, but we will get to that second boss fight at the end of this part, is you want to get to at least level 7. So don't be too afraid to fight some enemies and get to level 7. If you need to exit the dungeon, go back and heal, you can. But you at least want to get to level 7 by the end of this dungeon. So, the thing about these dungeons, in this particular dungeon, the exits are going to be on the far corners or on the far sides, like the far left or the far right, and then also the corners. I mean, basement 1's case, if you just follow the entrance straight down, all the way down south, you're going to go into basement level 2. So I didn't do that, and I forgot temporarily there, and you're going to find out I forget like where a lot of the exits and entrances are, unfortunately, so my bad about that. But in our first dungeon dive, you're going to want to find the prison key, the treasure box key, the silver bell, the necklace, the mask of eyes, and the shield ring. Unfortunately, the shield ring I'm going to end up finding once we come back to the dungeon. So the prison key is obtained here, and when you grab it, those 2 looters will spawn, so be very careful. Take them out, and then, or you can avoid them, whichever or. And one thing about dungeons is you want to avoid the combat in narrow corridors, like this hallway right here I'm going through. It's very narrow, you can't avoid any attacks, and you can't get off center. Like that looter right there I took out. There's no way for me to avoid it, and sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. So now we got the treasure box key, and with this we can open up any and all treasure chests in Asteria. And I like to think that all treasures Adol has found in his adventures in future Easy games, that is one treasure that he's kept. So basement level 3, we don't want to go there, so we'll go back there when we're ready. But we need to go and go back to level 1. Well, actually, no, we need to find the silver bell, so we need to go and get the silver bell, which is one thing we need to get. Because even though it doesn't really give us gold, the mayor in the Pact Village will give us a very amazing item that's very, very important for the rest of the journey. I do not think it's mandatory, but I might as well say it is mandatory because it doubles our attack, so we do a lot more damage. And that's important because the last boss of the game, you want to do as much damage as quickly as possible. That item he gives us is going to be very, very useful for that. Anyways, we got the silver bell, we got the treasure box key, we got the prison key, so now we should go back to the first level of the basement, which I think I get twisted around and turned lost, so let's see if I remember. So we want to go all the way to the south and then follow it all the way to the left, and then eventually you'll go up north like I'm doing here, and this will take you back to the first level of the basement, which is where we want to go. So we are going to go back to those jail cells in the top right, specifically the one on the right. The one on the left is going to have a looter, just an enemy, so there's really no reason for you to open the left jail cell. All the action, all the plot, the important person we have to rescue is on the right. So yeah, as you can see here, there's a lot of twisty turning bits in the dungeon, but at the end of the day, oh, and then the necklace right here on the bottom right, like I said, keep that in mind. Almost forgot for a second. But the necklace, you can sell that for some gold to good old Pim's shop. I don't think I sell it in this playthrough, so unfortunately I don't. And Adol's going to enter and say, oh god, there's a lady here, let me leave right quick, fix my face. But he goes in a second and he's like, oh geez, there's that enemy here. You know what, that first jail cell opening wasn't too bad. So we're going to go in here, we're going to be introduced to the first of very, very many what I call Ease girls. And this Ease girl is Fina. And Fina is locked in the bottom of this prison, and she says she feels like she's been locked up here her entire life, and the man in the black cape is the one who put us here, put her there, and he's a terrible man. He controls movement from monsters, so yes, he is the big bad baddie of this game. And so we're going to help her, because, you know, that's how we roll. So we're going to help her out. And then she's like, thank you so very much. And Adol swore he would take Fina to a very safe place, which, spoiler alert, she dies in the first attempt me doing this because I goof up really bad. So you want to get that item, the Mask of Eyes, because it's very, 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 very important to have, because without it, we can't progress in this dungeon. And also, even assuming we could beat this dungeon without it, you can't beat the final dungeon without it. So when you wear the Mask of Eyes, everything disappears. So, and the only thing you can really see is going to be the invisible walls that are going to be very specific. There's only 2 spots you're going to use the Mask of Eyes. So one of them is going to be in this dungeon. The other time is going to be in the final dungeon. So don't ever put on the Mask of Eyes outside the 2 parts. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble. So you can see there, the enemies will actively go after Fina if they can't get to you. So bear that in mind. I save here because I know that stuff is probably going to happen. So, bear that in mind. So, there's a little bit of 2 little, not Easter eggs, well I guess they are Easter eggs, but 2 little trophies that you can get here if you really want to do this. But if you can get Fina into this little hallway and push her into that back corner, you'll get treated to a little bit of dialogue, and Adol will be a little bit of a creep, should I say. So if you're pushing her back here, Fina says it's a dead end, and Adol's a bit cramped in here, don't you think? You're proud of me, dude. And Adol's like, well, at least I got your measurements over there by your level here on my screen here. But a little bit of a creepy thing, but yeah. So fortunately, unfortunately, Fina is going to bite the dust because of that termite, because she has a deadly allergy to termites. And this gives me an opportunity to get the second piece of dialogue here. So if you do the same exact thing, but you put on the Mask of Eyes and you do it, Fina makes an even worse comment. She's like, Adol, you're scaring me. So yeah, yeah, Adol, you're kind of scaring me. So yeah, you can do that, and it's also another trophy right there. So if you want to do that, be my guest. If you don't, you know, more power to you. Personally, I don't ever do that, but it's something I just wanted to mention. I'm not much of a trophy hunter, as I've probably said in some of my other Let's Plays, but those are 2 very simple trophies. What are you doing, Phil? Okay, so with that, we're gonna get out of here. So come on, Fina. Let's get out of here. We're gonna take you to Zip Pack Village. We're gonna introduce you to Jebba. Everything will be hunky dory. And as you can see, she moves at a snail's pace. So that gives me a little bit of an opportunity to talk. But we're gonna lead her to the entrance. And I'll say right now, Fina is not it. Probably she is my favorite easy girl out of all the girls that Adult meets in all the journey. Her dialogue is very simple. You know, it's not. It's very simple, but it's very, very, very. I don't want to say story heavy, but I just really like the simple dialogue she has with Adult, and some of the scenes she has with Adult in Ease 1 and 2, especially at the end of Ease 2. In my mind, she just cements me as the one and only girl for Adult, and there's a little bit of substance to that theory in some of the older games where I think there was a comment mentioned that she's the first girl to fall in love with Adult, and then she was the only girl that Adult fell in love with. And then, you know, for me, in my head canon, that's true. The only girls that actually measure up to Fina are Elena and Donna, and those two have far more dialogue than Fina. But Fina is by far my favorite easy girl. So, with that said, we're gonna be outside the shrine, the mountain path, and we're gonna just be very careful here. There's only a few enemies that get in the way, and that's at the entrance of the shrine, and then right here. After that, we're pretty much home free. So, we're gonna take her to the village, inch by inch by inch. Then, once we get to the entrance, you know, blah 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 blah, and she's like, "Oh God, I don't feel good." And then Adol's like all concerned, like it's the man he is, and Fina's like, "I'm all right, Adol. I'm just tired. That's all. Don't worry about me." Face plant. And she lapsed into unconsciousness, and Adol felt her forehead and confirmed she had a fever. So Adol's going to lift her over his manly shoulder, and then very gently, mind you, and then carry her to Jebba's. And good old Jebba is going to heal her, and then make a comment that by all intents and purposes, no matter how you look at it, it's a very strange story. This girl is locked in the inner sanctum of this dungeon. It's been locked up. It's become home to monsters, and somehow that girl's in prison there, and it just doesn't add up. And on top of that, the Silver Bell was there, and the Man in Black put her there. So yeah, it's not very, it's not adding up. So we got the Silver Bell, so one thing we're going to do is we're going to return that Silver Bell to its rightful owner, the mayor of this town, which for a minute I black out, and I don't remember where it's at, and it's right here in front of that house with the axe. So Mayor Robels, now I know why it's a Silver Bell. His last name is Bells. Anyways, I digress. So he gives us the power ring, and this is going to effectively double our attack strength when we have it equipped. Very important. Like I said, it doubles our damage output, which is going to be very important against the final boss, because the final boss, you're effectively on a time limit. But we're going to go and we're going to side quest. So we're going to go back to the Rodent Tree, and there's one treasure chest we didn't open up here. And it's going to be this treasure chest right here, which has a piece of paper. Anyways, this piece of paper, it's kind of important for a little bit of side story. So, if you equip the piece of paper and you attempt to read it by using it, Adol is going to say it's written in an archaic language, so not very useful. So we're going to return back to Mania, and what you could do here, I don't do it, but you could sell the necklace, get a little bit of gold, and then we're going to buy a potion. And if you want to, if you remember to sell the necklace, unlike me, you can upgrade some of your armor if you have enough money. For sure, you want to buy the reflex armor. I think that's what it's called, the reflex armor. And then you also want to buy the large shield eventually. But we're not going to do that in this this run of Mania Village. I'm mainly just going here to buy the potion and tell Sarah, "Oh hey, I found a girl," and you're like, "What that? A girl's a prisoner in a shrine? You can't be. Swordsman, our time grows short. Please find the books of ease and I'll explain everything later." How about you explain to me now before something unfortunate happens? Hint, hint. But she doesn't do that. So, we're back to Barbado Port, and one thing we want to do here is we want to trigger a cutscene in the clinic. But unfortunately, I didn't talk to the doctor before I left, so we got to talk to him and then rush back out the village, come back in, it resets the city, and then we can get the event in play. Because if you do this, you'll get a free upgrade to your weapon. You'll get the Tower War sword, and that is a very, very potent weapon for this point of the game, and it's free. So, you know, why not do that? It'll upgrade our attack capabilities by, I think, 20 points if memory serves. So we are at 120, 135. So I had to squint my eyes to see the number, but so we're going to be introduced to Luda Gemma, which, as I said, I think in the previous part, he's a very important character in Adol's journey in the first game, because without him, we're stuck up the creek without a paddle when we get to the final dungeon. So we want to help good old Luta. So he introduces himself. Looks like a bard. Like, oh my, pardon me. And he has a chronic sleepwalking problem, unfortunately. So I have a feeling that we're going to want to try to look for him after we leave Barbados port. So if you talk to Dr. Blotto, he'll mention, yeah, he's a sleepwalker, blah, 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 blah. He's a little bit concerned. He should have gotten the militia to escort him. But Adol being Adol, and us knowing this, we're going to want to go find Luta and help him. Because I don't think it's mandatory to help him, but you want to help him because he gives you some free experience, which is nice. Free experience is always nice. We're going to go back and talk to Slav, the doctor's son, and then he's like, Adol, what's wrong? And Adol tells him this whole thing about the monsters fought, and Slav is like, either way, you got a heaping helping of destiny. Let me go help you, bro. So we're going to follow Slav very extremely slowly to the armory, because, you know, why not just like give us a cutscene and just skip and hop all the way over there, right? But la 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 la, enjoying the music. And one thing I like about Barbados port is the music. Music very peaceful, and a lot of his music is very good. So we in the armory, and Slav's like, here, take the sword for you, stranger. It's dangerous outside. So the tower has been obtained, and he makes a comment. He found it while he's patrolling the beach. Probably come from a trade ship capsized by the storm wall, and he's like, this came from probably the east with the curved hill. He's like, I think you should make good use of it. And I'm like, okay, dude. And Sloth makes a comment like, hey, I want to go with you. But if you need something, don't hesitate to swing by. And we'll never swing by again. We'll probably never come back to Barbados port ever again. But with the Tower War sword, we get a healthy boost to our attack strength to be a plus 10, I believe. I think I said plus 20, but it's plus 10 because we have 135. Come on, Phil. Equip the sword! So it goes from 135 to 145. It's very useful, very handy, it's very deadly. So we're going to journey back to Mania, cut there, and we're going to go find Luta, because Luta is going to sleepwalk again between the Barbados port and Zipek village, which is very dangerous. And we're going to want to go to the west side of the plains. So this is where everyone says all the dangers at, but the monsters in the plains section are no different than the monsters in the center and the east section. There's a little bit of a Picard, Captain Picard. I'm a big fan of Star Trek, if you can't tell that reference. But all the monsters here by now, they're just nuisances. They're not going to kill you unless you just actively just stand still and let them smack you. But despite the fact I can't find Luta, he's not going to die from getting an ambush by that green demon, which, what are they called? They're called Curloids. But yeah, they're not going to kill him. You just hear them running around and skin smacked around. But you just take out the blue demon, and Luta makes a comment like, oh, thank you so much. I don't know who you are, but you really did save my life. And then he makes a comment like, oh yeah, I remember you. And he's like, my name is Luda, and Adol's like, hey, my name's Adol. Sweet, man, let's be bros. And then let me go ahead and escort you back to the village because I want some free experience. So, and he makes a comment that his sleepwalking didn't happen 6 months before, which is when the storm wall occurred, which all this stuff is tying together. And his wife is like, oh my god, Luda, what the heck happened to you? And Luda's like, I'm so very sorry. But this is Adol. He's my new best friend. He saved me. And he's like, thank you, lad, how can I save you? And Luda makes comments like, excuse me, we have some business to attend to. I'll let your imaginations wonder what he meant by that, folks. But yeah. So we got some experience. We got like 500 experience by doing that. So that was very, very nice. So now we're going to go back to Jebba's house. go back to Jeba's house, Phil. Yeah, so we're gonna go back to Jeba's house, and Fina made a full recovery. And Adal is like, Fina! And Fina's like, Adal! And Adal's like, Fina! And Fina's like, I can't believe I collapsed like that. It's a little bit too late now, but thank you, Adal Kristen, for saving from a dark, dank, dark prison. Dark square prison. But if you talk to Fina, she wonders why she was in prison there. She can't remember. Remembers her at prison, nothing else. And then when she tries to focus, it just hurts her head. So typical RPG syndrome. Person has amnesia. No matter how much they try, it kind of hurts their head. So yeah, it's kind of par for the course. So we're gonna go back to the first level of the shrine with the very big entrance where you enter with that gold god statue. You're finding shield ring. Kind of went a little dumb there, folks. Sorry about that. And the shield ring is another important piece of equipment because I personally like to equip the power ring all the time because I like just having more offense. The best offense is a good defense is the best offense, as they say. But in Ease 1, I kind of flip that logic straight on its head. I do like to equip the shield ring because unlike most RPGs where you can heal in the dungeon, Ease 1, well actually in all the Ease games, until you get a specific item, you can't heal normally, which means you have to rely on a potion to heal, which you're only allowed to carry one potion. So if you use that potion early and you get hurt a lot, you have no way of healing yourself, so you want to hit the abort button with the wing and fly your happy self out. But yeah, so don't use your potion haphazardly. Make smart decisions in fight in these dungeons, especially narrow corridors. You don't want to fight in narrow corridors because then you'll have no way to avoid damage. And if you take enough damage, you gotta use your potion. If you're very, very careless and you do that again without a potion, you'll either die, which is very bad, or you'll be forced to use your wing. Or option C, you don't have a wing, you gotta fight your way out and survive somehow. So you want to keep a wing handy at all times and have a potion with you at all times until you find a special item that's, I believe, it's in the mine, which we'll get to that. We'll get to that dumpster fire when we get to it. But right here, I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. I don't remember where the exit to B2 into B3 is, but it's on the right side, and you have to work your way up and then go up a little bit and then go back down. So I'm about to go that way. So you follow this pathway I'm going, level up. You're in level 7, so that's awesome. So right here, we're in the new section. We're gonna get new enemies, and these enemies are a little bit beefier. But since we have the Tawar sword, most of them are gonna go down in one hit. So the items that we're looking for in the second half of this dungeon is the Ivory Key, Silver Shield. We'll probably find that jacked silver shield. That's gonna be ours, baby. And then we're gonna find a second heal potion. And we're gonna find a marble key. And the 2 keys are important because without them, we can't fight the boss of the bottom dungeon. We can't find the first fabled book of keys. So yeah, so we're gonna take out these enemies, and then we're gonna skip this first goddess statue. That actually leads to I think the level 4 section. It leads to deeper into the dungeon, so we want to avoid that. We're going to go all the way to the back side, and then we're going to use this shrine. Come on. Shrine in the statue in the shrine. It'll take us over here, and then we're going to want to take out these called Linus, and then a Dimbel. So they got very interesting names here. I don't remember any of them, but there's our silver shield. We need this. This is very important. I believe without all the silver equipment, spoiler alert, Gobon lets us into the Garm Tower, but it makes a comment that you need silver equipment. So with the silver shield, that's one part of our journey that has been accomplished. I went again dumb there, folks. So we're gonna go back to that first goddess statue, and we're gonna oh yeah, I forgot, I got turned around here, and I ended up going back to where the silver shield is. I probably think that treasure chest is a thing I missed, but it's actually not. The only thing that's behind this goddess statue is the silver shield. So we're gonna go back and trace our steps, and then touch that other goddess statue, go back to the hallway that made a very, very bad U-turn, I'm over here like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, oh yeah, stupid. There's a goddess statue that you skipped on purpose because we know it goes deeper into the dungeon. Like I said, it's very labyrinthian. It's very easy to get confused, and the enemies just generally just hurt. I'm already almost to half my health, but the good thing is there is a heal potion, which is right there in that treasure chest. And then you want to make note of that silver statue that's not gold, because those were all the statues that we came across, and that one is not turned on. So this is where we're going to want to equip the Mask of Eyes next to that statue, because it'll open the path forward. So if you equip the Mask of Eyes, that door is revealed and you can go through it and take it off right away because there are enemies, and the enemies will not hesitate to hit you. So we're going to skip that first goddess statue again. We're going to continue. We're going to go through this hallway. At the end of it, we're going to find another golden statue, which this statue is important because it opens the way to, we got the ivory key first, so that would be the marble key is the second one again. So we're going to want to go get that marble key. It's very short to the point, so we don't have to go too far. So take that dude out, get the marble key. Very interesting looking key. So go back. We're going to backtrack all the way back to that first goddess statue that we passed up. Use that, and then we'll be transported to the underwater section. Don't worry, there's no water physics or swimming yet, folks in these. But we're going to go in here. We're on the very bottom of the dungeon, so we're going to save. And then we're going to go all the way to the left. There's nothing to the right, so go all the way to the left. And then we're going to get to a boss door. And when Adol opens it with the first key, the marble key, Adol makes a mention. He says terrifying bloodlust from within the passage. Some sort of great power was awakened. So you go through, and then you use your second key, the ivory key, and you'll be treated to a boss fight on the once you touch the mural on the back wall, which I am not going to attempt to pronounce this boss's name, but I'm going to let Future Phil write the name there. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. But this centipede boss, very simple, but I'm going to make it very difficult myself because I let him hit me, and then he pulls me into a corner. So we're going to cut to the second attempt where I get it, and I have the power ring equipped, so I'm going to do even more damage to him. So once you get the pattern down, you want to make as tight of a turn as possible so you can get him, and you don't want to get hit by him because, as you saw, if you get hit by him, it's very likely he push you into the wall and then into the corner, or he can finish you off. So stay very tight with your turns and just smack into his body, and then you'll destroy him no problem at all. So, and I leveled up. So we're at level 8 now, and we're 2 levels away from being on max health. But we find the Book of Ease, and we defeat the evil bad centipede. Whose name I cannot pronounce, and I'm not going to pronounce because I don't want to butcher it that bad. So at this point, you can either use the wings to exit the dungeon and go back to Mania Village, or you can do what I'm going to do, but I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to go and walk all the way back through the dungeon and get some experience because I want to get to level 10 as soon as possible. You don't have to do this. You can easily get to level 10 in the next dungeon, the mine, but I'd rather just get the extra experience, get the gold. So we're back to Zepek Village, and then we're going to talk to good old Jeba, and Jeba's going to be like, you found it! Oh, first let's talk to Fina. And Fina's like, I would like you to come and visit me from time to time if you aren't busy, of course. So that's, again, some touching dialogue I really do like. Jeba sees a book, a look of concern goes on her face, and she's like, you got to go see Sarah now, stranger. And then Fina still can't remember anything, so with that, we're going to leave. And then we're going to save at the entrance of Zepek Village, and that'll be the end of this part of the Ease playthrough. So I'll catch you in the next one, folks. Later. Bye.